If you enjoy truthful and heartfelt conversations to inspire you to become a better version of yourself, Empowering Stories will help you. Hello, Karen and Ryan. How are you doing?
We're doing well. Thanks for inviting us to your podcast.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure. I met Karen and Ryan through Owen, and they are going to introduce themselves because they are so interesting people, and they're going to share some empowering stuff with us and the things that they do, and kind of the background is telling us something already. Well, please introduce yourselves and tell us what you're about.
You want to start?
Go ahead.
So I'm Karen Falkenberg, and I am one of the co-founders of our business, Tiger's Eye Life. And we're happy to be here to talk with you about our own health journey. That's part of what we do is we focus on people's health and how to optimize that, particularly for busy, purpose-driven professionals who they know that their health is really important, but they may not have prioritized it to the degree that they wish they did. And now they're ready to do that.
It sounds so familiar, Karen, so familiar. Ryan, what would you like to tell us about that?
Okay, yeah, my name is Ryan MacQueen, and I'm business partners with Karen right here. I'm also one of the co-founders of Tiger's Eye Life. And so I got into my fitness journey began quite some time ago. I played sports my whole life growing up, was always into being in shape and things like that. And then had a time in my life that was pretty wild and crazy. And then that's actually what ended up getting me back into fitness. And so what happened was when I got back into fitness, I started getting healthy. I wanted to personal train. So I started personal training, just seeing clients, just one-on-one. And then one thing led to another. I met Karen as a client. We formed a really good friendship. We became business partners, and then we created this business together. So that I'm not only seeing clients just one-on-one. You know, I can actually affect more people with using social media, using recorded content, and so we're just getting that started, me and Karen, and it's really been a really good thing.
Oh my God, there are so many things that I want to know more about. For instance, you were super fit, you're saying, and then something happened in the middle, and then you came back to it. And then you met Karen as she was a client of yours. Karen, what were you doing? What happened for you to meet with Ryan, and how did it all start? And then Ryan can tell us what happened there in the middle, because I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, so it is a bit of a story. And somebody once asked, how did we meet? And we said fate. So I was in a very serious car accident in 2019. I had a concussion bad enough. I had to be retrained in how to walk in a straight line again. And now I had in the past, I've been a long distance runner, been a cyclist. But here I was trying to get myself through rehab so that I could be a functioning human again. And over the course of the 6 months, at about 3 months' time, I decided it was time for me to do more than my rehab. And I said, I'm going to go to a gym and I'm going to get strong. I had a goal of doing my first pull-up when I turned 60. And I couldn't find a way to get that done. I talked to people, I watched videos, I'd read things. It just really wasn't working. So one day I just drove up the street. I drove into a parking lot where I had never been, to a building that had a gym in the basement that I couldn't see from the street. And I walked in and we happened to meet, and that was that. And so ever since, I was able to realize not only getting stronger and getting healthier, but the ability to change one's health through strength training was just unbelievable for me. So that's how that all actually started. And after about 6 months of us being friends, we said, we could do this as a business together, because you can tell a story about how we talk to each other about all the things, right?
Totally. Yeah. Is there anything that you wanted to say or ask?
I got trapped with this thing of I went to a place that I couldn't see and I didn't know that was there and something was pulling me. So what was pulling you, Karen? Just clarify that, and then Ryan maybe can add something up, because this is getting so exciting.
It's the universe was just drawing me to him. That's the way that it went. That's exactly what it was. I mean, there's no logic to it, right? I'm just driving down the street and I pull into a parking lot of a shopping center. It doesn't say anywhere on the front of the building that there is a gym at all. And there's plenty of gyms in our town that I would have passed on my way there. And I just pulled in and went down behind the building and I pulled right into the parking lot right in front of where he was working.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
But I love that. Absolutely love that. And on the other side, Ryan, where were you? What were you doing? What happened there?
Yeah. So
At the
like
same time that she was driving nowhere.
Right. Okay. So I'm working at the gym as a personal trainer, right? So seeing clients at the gym. And I asked one of the trainers that was there, like, hey, watch the gym. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go get a gas station and get something to drink. Right. So I walk over to the gas station and I come back in like 15 minutes. And Karen is walking out, or actually she was talking to the other trainer that was there, the one that I had asked to watch the gym. And she's talking to him. They had talked for probably 15 or 20 minutes. And as she was walking out, I was like, all right, see you later, like literally just said bye. Right. And she was like, oh, okay. Yeah. See you later. And then asked me what I did. And I was like, oh yeah, I work at the gym and I train here too. And she's like, oh, you're a trainer also? I was like, yes. And then we just started talking about like the brain and lifting weights and being healthy and the gut microbiome, just this like fascination that we each had. And we just really were having a good conversation. And then it turned into, she was like, well, I actually came here looking for a trainer and I talked to Greg, but can I get your number? And I was like, okay, well, here's the thing is, if you already talked to Greg about training with him, then I don't want to step on anybody's toes and anything like that, So I was like, so the most I'll do is I'll give you my number, but as long as you go tell him, please go tell Greg that you asked me for my number and I didn't poach you at all because, because I don't want to do that. Right. And so she was like, okay, cool. So she walked over and told Greg, hey, just talk to Ryan, and then so I gave her my phone number and then I never called her back or anything like that. But like 2 weeks later, I get a phone call saying, hey, I, thought about, you and Greg, and I think I want to go with you. And so I was like, okay, cool. Again, please tell Greg that, what happened. And then, so that's how we started training together. That's how it all started. And what's crazy is had I been at the gas station for like 5 more minutes longer, right, she would have walked out of the place and I never would have met her. Right. So, I mean, the whole thing is crazy.
Wow. So I can see here that one of your values is integrity. Big time.
Oh, exactly.
Integrity. What other values do you think that would be your code? And Karen, is integrity one of the values of your core as well?
It is. In fact, right behind the screen, we have a set. We spent months talking about who we were individually and being friends, but then who we would be as a business together. And we developed 10 principles for our business. And so they're on the little Post-it notes right behind the screen here. And that represents who we are. We've got lots of them that exemplify Tiger's Eye.
Would you like to share some of them?
We can share them. I'm going to go grab them right back here. You can talk to Ryan for a minute, and then I'll just show you my Post-it notes.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, so one of the other, I think, like huge values that we have just in life in general, for me personally, for Karen, obviously, is kindness. Kindness to me is the most important thing of all time, is being kind to one another, And so one of the things that for me, why I like to be in shape is because it makes me a better person. The healthier I am, the more active I am, the better I'm a better person. And the more positive that I can affect the people that I encounter in the world, and I'm talking everybody. Like when I go to the gas station and I pay for gas, I'm nicer to the stranger who takes my money for gas. When I'm at a restaurant and the people that are, the waiters and waitresses, I'm more kind to them. I'm just better, right? So I feel like being healthy for me, it just makes me such a better person overall, not only to my wife, obviously that's the most important thing to me, right? But to my sisters and to Karen and to everybody, so kindness is huge. And then she just got the other post-its too. So yeah.
Yeah, we think about humans as just a miracle, right? The only Anna that there will ever be on the planet is the one we're talking to right now. And so to honor the uniqueness that every person brings when we interact with them, that's really important to us. Some of our, here's one I'll read you.
Yeah, your code of honor.
Yeah, we look for and we create joy.
Wow, I love that. Yeah. Any other or any comments on that one?
Curiosity is another one. Curiosity is probably the thing that bonded us immediately. Was what we realized when talking to each other was that we both had intense curiosity, right? Because there's no way that we would have known about all these things that we were talking about without being curious. And so even though we didn't talk about being curious, it was evident that who I was talking to was a very curious person. It's like takes one to know one. And so curiosity is a big one for us. And I just think that it's the key to having a happy, and not even just happy, it's the key to having a fun, fulfilling life. Because you think about a child. Children are the most curious little things ever. I always think of children as scientists. All they're doing, children, is they're just doing scientific experiments constantly. That's why they're breaking stuff and spilling stuff, because they're constantly testing the world that they live in, right? They're so curious. Their imaginations run wild. And so with curiosity, right? I mean, we're unstoppable. You look at a child and you go, what's so amazing? One of the things that's so amazing about them is how curious they are. So curiosity for us is huge. And I just think that it's the most important thing. Curiosity and kindness, those two.
Well, talking about curiosity and being like a child, what happens when we go from being a child into being an adult? We change curiosity by what? What do you think that we change it for? That's not curiosity.
I think in some cases what happens is we forget what it's like to be curious, because we have people telling us, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And then there's this expectation often that either we put on ourselves or that other people put upon us and we accept it. And that is to conform and to believe what somebody else tells you. And what we think is in the one of the most important attributes that people need to have is to be a critical thinker, to not just accept what you hear or read or somebody tells you and you just accept that. You really need to proof test what it is that is information that's coming to you. Does this make sense? And how would you know it? Does this not make sense? How do you think about that? So that's a part of what can stifle curiosity is that sense of, I need to conform to what I hear other people saying and doing. So I myself should be like them so I can be part of a group.
Yeah, makes sense. So we become obedient. We try to be complacent with other people so that we are accepted.
Right. And
we are fearful, maybe be fearful not to be accepted or loved. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's right. And I think it takes work to come up with your own opinions, right? It takes work to dig into learning. And a lot of people, for whatever the reason, have just sort of lost that spark of curiosity to do that.
Yeah. I have another question. You were saying before, Ryan, that becoming healthier makes you kinder. Can you explain a little bit how those two are related? Because to a trained eye, it might be like, what are you saying? Kinder because you're fitter? What the hell?
Right. Yeah, that's so funny that you asked that, because That's exactly what I've thought before, is a lot of times people wouldn't think of what you put inside your belly, like literally the food you put in your mouth, chew up and swallow, as making you kinder. You wouldn't think that. So it's so funny that you asked it in the way that you asked it. So for me, and my wife, who I know better than anybody in this world, and we've had this conversation. But so for me, if I eat something that's really unhealthy, like if we go out of town and we go to a movie and we get candy, or just as an example, I don't feel nearly as good as I felt prior to eating the candy or having a really unhealthy meal. For me, I don't feel as energetic. I don't feel as present. I just don't feel as right now, I feel amazing. Like I feel amazing this second, and all day today, I feel amazing. For the rest of the day, I'll feel amazing. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll feel amazing. And because I feel amazing, I'm able to control my mood, right? My mood, I can count on my mood. And when you eat unhealthy food, we know that food, it affects your neurotransmitters in your brain, which affect your energy. We know that this is what happens. And so when you are affecting your neurotransmitters in a negative way, it's like a depressant. You think of like an antidepressant. What those are just surging your brain full of neurotransmitters that make you happy, right? So the opposite is also true. When you suppress those neurotransmitters, right, it has a depressant effect. And when you don't feel good, you can't treat people as good. I have unbelievably high expectations of myself and how I affect other people. It's like the most important thing in the world to me is how I affect the people around me. People always ask me, how am I so happy? And I tell them that's not by accident. And happy isn't even the best way to describe it. It's kind of a cheap way of describing it, but I feel happy. I feel in a good mood because I feel like I have a moral responsibility to people in this world to be happy, to be kind, right? I feel that it's not my right to go around being in a bad mood and affecting people negatively. So when people ask, why are you so happy all the time? I say, because I have an obligation. I have a moral responsibility to the people that I'm around to be this way. And I can't be that way if I don't feel good, right? If I eat a bunch of crappy food and I'm like tired and I can't be that person that I expect myself to be.
And Karen is nodding, so I'm guessing that your food is also very healthy.
It is. And what I was going to say to you is, if you think about the rise in the fast food consumption and processed food consumption in the last 20 years, and you look at the correlation with the mental health issues that we have now, there's a lot of data to show that those are trending together, right? And that's a part of what Ryan speaks about, is what you consume. And there's also the case of what you consume through your ears, right? Through your eyes.
Yeah, that was my question.
all the kinds of consumption have an impact on how you feel, what your outlook is, even how you think.
Wow. So it starts with the food. And then what about between your ears? What about your thoughts? How do you feed your mind? How do you feed your thoughts? How do you control them? What happens? It happen just naturally because you eat very healthily and then you're very fit? Or do you need to train your mind as well?
I think you have to train your mind as well. I think you have to focus on what you want to do and where you're going with your life, as opposed to being distracted. We have a lot of distracted people in this day and age, for sure. I mean, and it's not surprising, right? There's things come at us so quickly. We have a flood of media. It's all of the reasons why, we flip from thing to thing. And then what can happen is you just aren't purposeful in how you spend your time. And I mean, no matter what you think about resources, the ultimate resource that any person has is the amount of time in their day, the amount of time in their life. And so if you spend it without paying attention, without being intentional and purposeful, you've essentially given up some of this resource that you can't get back. So being focused is, I think, a really key component of being healthy.
Yeah. Ryan, how do you keep focus yourself?
I keep focused myself. Yeah. So people think of diet as only what you eat and drink, right? But your diet is literally everything that goes inside of you. It's the music you listen to, it's the news you watch, it's the movies you watch, it's everything that goes inside you, right? Is your diet, And so for me, I'm very careful. I'm very protective of what goes inside my body. And I don't, so my wife and I, we don't have a TV. And we're not like super against TV, but we just don't have one because there's no time in the day for us to have one. And so we don't set up distractions. One of the things that I don't like about TV, again, I'm not against it. I don't tell people you need to stop watching TV, but is the TV is doing your thinking for you, right? You put on a TV show, you put on the news, and it's other people talking that are, means people who wrote the movie, and sometimes they can be great, but you're letting other people do your thinking for you, which is something that I don't particularly like the idea of. Every now and then we'll watch a movie and that's great, like a funny movie. We just watched Tommy Boy the other day and it was awesome. But that's how I stay focused by staying focused, by not distracting myself, right? With TV and social media. Neither one of us have a social media. I never have, and she never has. When I got married to her, I remember thinking that I wanted to get with a girl with no social media, but I remember thinking that probably doesn't even exist anymore. And I think I found the last one, because, and not that, again, I don't have anything against social media, but for me, since I don't spend time on it, I was hoping to find someone who also doesn't spend time on it because it's so distracting. The phone is constantly dinging and dinging. And so I stay focused by limiting the things that are meant to be distracting, like social media, the cell phone, TV, snacks all around the house. You know what I mean? Because every time you go and you take a snack, you're directing your attention now towards eating, right? And that can really mess up your flow, right? Like I've hung out with people who they need to eat a lot and it gets in the way. Like if you want to go to the park and then after the park, you want to go to the pool and then you want to go do this. There's always has to be like, oh, we have to go eat. We have to go eat. So I stay focused by limiting things that are meant to be distracting, which there are so many things.
Right. So it would be like our natural state would be to be focused. But then we as humans create all these distractions maybe to get out of our minds. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Exactly right.
Going back to basics. Yeah. And what about you, Karen? Do you train yourself to be focused or you just do the same thing, staying out of the things that unfocus you?
Both. Yep, that's exactly right. And we are so busy building our business that the minute that I wake up, I think about I take my time for gratitude in the morning, but then once I'm up out of bed, I am straight on what is my intention for 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. I thrive under structure and being very busy. And so that's how I maintain my own focus for sure. And that's not for everybody, but that's what works for me. And I think that's the point is people have to find the ways in which they think about if your time is in some way equated with your energy. If you have all this leakage, right, throughout your day, then you get to the end of the day and you're just spent and you think, oh, maybe I didn't accomplish enough, or maybe I didn't enjoy my day that much. But it's like a leaky bucket, right? All this water is pouring out in all these spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Started about that.
You have both mentioned purpose. When do you know what your purpose was? How do you get there? What can you tell people to be on purpose? What would you have to say about that?
You want to go first? You want me to?
Go ahead.
So, when I first started my life as an adult, I was an engineer and I was making good money. And then my career path turned and I became an educator and I was making almost no money. And I started to think about, this doesn't feel right, like I'm not making enough money. But then I began to think about, well, is that really my purpose, is to make money? And the answer to me was, no, my purpose is something completely different. And so I have for decades used 4 criteria that help me choose my next path in my existence. So the first one is I have to be involved in something that's creative. I have to be involved with other people. It has to be collaborative. I have to be able to contribute. I mean, there are some things that I just never would be able to do because I don't have the skill set or whatever. And then it has to be in service to people, to the community. So if it hits those 4 main points, then I'm really interested in having a conversation about it. And we go back to curiosity, right? That's part of being creative, is having curiosity. So for me, that's what it's really all about, is in service to others. Servant leadership essentially is what that becomes, and being able to support other people in becoming their best self, whatever that is for them. And that's how I have found my grounding as a human.
Which in turn makes you being a leader yourself and to be on top of your game and the best version of yourself as well.
Yes, I suppose that's right. But to lead from behind, right, rather than lead from the front, to support other people and to grow them, because the more we give to others, the more it just flows back to us in terms of enjoyment and fulfillment and kindness, just as Ryan was saying.
Beautiful. And for you, Ryan?
Yeah. As far as purpose goes, something that I think about is what other people tell you is a big one. So like for me, no one has ever told me that I should be a singer, right? Like I should go be a beautiful singer, right? Because I don't have a beautiful voice. Maybe I do. I never tried singing, but I mean, I tried singing a little bit, but no one's ever told me to go be a singer, or no one's ever told me like, hey, you should go be a hockey player, right? So I just think that when people tell you a lot that you should do this thing, that's a way for me to know. So, and also too, so that, and would I do it for free? So the way that I got into this was because I was like geeking out hardcore all the time, as far as like how to get stronger, how to get better gut health, how to optimize my neurotransmitters in my brain. Like I'm just like totally geeking out on all this stuff, reading about it. And I realized, and then from reading about it, I had all this information that I was sharing with my friends, and they would tell me, they're like, bro, you know so much about this, you should do this for a living. And I'd be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Cause it was super like sacred to me. It still is. But how it was then was, it was like sacred to me. And I was like, I'm just really using this so that I can be a better person. But then I kept hearing it. So many people kept telling me. And then when I would help people and they would have success and they would go, hey man, I tried what you said and I feel so much better. I'm down 10 pounds. I got this, thing that I was really hoping to get. The feeling that gave me from helping these people was so off the hook, right? That I was like, wait a second, maybe I should be doing this. So those two things, would you do it for free, right? Because are you just into it, just for free, which yes, I was. And do people tell you that you should do it, right? People, they kept telling me. And so that told me, okay, this is something that not only do you think could happen, but other people are telling you that you would be good at this. So those two things really for me is what sealed the deal for doing what I do.
Wow, this is such a great information, because for both of you, the purpose came from different sides. For Karen, it was about being in alignment with your values, your core values, right, Karen? And for you, it was this, what would I do for free and what's the feedback that I'm getting? So I love this, because for everyone in the planet, the way to live on purpose could be coming from different ways. It's not this voice whispering, or is not something that your mother told you when you were a kid. It could be anything coming from anywhere. So there's not only one way to get to your purpose. Thank you so much for sharing that. But nowadays, that purpose of yours, of the two of you coming from different places, from different backgrounds, how does it materialize with the background that you have there, physical background? How do
Oh, back
you
here?
get people? Are you creative? What do you do now that you would do for free and you're very good at? How do you do it?
That's a great question. So there are times when people say, is this like one of those fake backgrounds?
No,
And
that's
the
true.
answer is no, it's clearly not. You wave your hand and you can still see my hand. Yeah, this is a place where we do a lot of work together, both in terms of training clients, working with clients, as well as working on our business. So this is where we materialize this. We recognized we started talking about having Tiger's Eye Life before COVID, but as soon as COVID began and everybody was locked out of places to be with other people, was locked out of gyms, were locked out of everything, we knew that this was going to be a real health detriment to lots of people, just being isolated and disconnected. And you would read about people cooking and baking and eating and eating and eating. And, we just knew that there was going to be such a need to reach more than just one person or one small group at every hour, so that we wanted to bring our business to an online focus so that we could support many more people and build a community around it, right? Because if you work one-on-one, they don't necessarily get to know all of the other people that you work with. So building a robust community around optimizing health is what we're focused on right now.
Wow, so beautiful. So you support people online and you support them one-on-one as well. You do both now that we're post-COVID. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we do. It's great. We have all kinds of ways in which we're supporting people, and we're starting a membership that's coming up in just about another month. We're working to get that ready so that we can further build out what we offer for people.
Yeah, and since creativity is one of your pillars, I'm sure that you will keep finding ways, more and more ways on how to support people, how to link them together, which is good for the mental health, how to support their guts, yeah, by sharing foods or tips or whatever it is, how to become strong muscle-wise, how to keep that smile, how to live on purpose. What you do is amazing, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being interested in who we are and what we do and why we do what we do.
It's just amazing. It's so inspiring. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I wanted to show you just one more of these, and this one
yes,
here
please do.
is one of that kind of wraps up what we were saying, right? So our intention is to engage in transformation for ourselves, to expand ourself and our worldviews. And so that means it's not just for us, that it's really for us to think about holistically, people everywhere who could be supported by having better health, having better mental health because they have better physical health, having more community time together around optimizing health. Because there's a lot of confusion in social media. People ask, what about this? What about that? Or you'll hear people promote something that's actually not correct just because they want to sell you a solution. So we really focus on what's accurate, what's true, how to optimize yourself, and how to do that in a really joyful way, because a lot of times people also think, well, if I'm going to get healthier, it's going to be punitive, it's going to be restrictive, I'm not going to like it. And that's just not true. You can approach it in such a different way as we were talking about here today.
Yeah. And with a dose of kindness, which makes two of you so different. So completely different. Wow. What's your wish, guys? What would you like to accomplish long term?
I would say what I would wish, what I would hope to accomplish long term, would be, one of the things, my favorite things that I've ever heard is people never remember how much money you have or what car you have or all the cool shit that you have. What they remember is how you make them feel. That's what people remember about people, is how those people make them feel, So I would hope, what I wish is that I can make as many people feel the way that they want to feel as possible, and not like how I say that right? Because for me, the way that I want to feel like kindness, for other people, it might be they want to feel like super curious, or they want to feel super driven and all these things. You know, they may express it in a different way. So I just hope that I can affect as many people and make as many people feel the way that they want to feel as I can possibly in my whole life. You know, that's the wish.
Fantastic. And for you, Karen?
You know, I will say that I was put into a situation that I didn't really look for. But at my age of 65, I'll be 66 this year in September.
Oh, what?
But I have people that say to me, they kind of look like you look, right? And I'm just being me, that's all. But people say you're
no, Holly, of course.
You're inspiring me to believe that I don't have to think my best years are in my 30s and my 40s, or even my 40s or my 50s, so that you can say at my age, I believe I have another 30, 35, 40 years to go. I have a lot more of my life left ahead. And, you know, there's some women that say to me, I want to have biceps like you. Well, that's cool, but you want to be your best you. And they have sort of suggested that I was inspiring to them. But I would like people to believe that they don't have to think of their last decades of life as less than whole, less than happy. Yeah. Yeah.
Uphill. Yeah.
Forever. Yeah. It's great.
Where can people meet you guys?
Well, certainly on LinkedIn. You can look up our business, which is Tiger's Eye Life. You can find my profile and Ryan's profile. We are there. And our website is tigerseye.life. There's no .com in there at all. So it's tigerseye.life. We're on Instagram as well under Tiger's Eye Life Coaching.
Excellent. We'll put all the information down here and down below the video.
What's your wish?
What's my wish?
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. My wish is to create this ripple effect of kindness, as you put it there, of empowerment, of going uphill, as Karen put it, of always being improving. And I want to become a beacon for that, so that we all get together. We all become beacons because we create this sisterhood and brotherhood all around the world. That would be my wish. Yeah. That we all shine bright because we are ourselves, not who others tell us to do, but who we are, our own beacons.
Yeah. Your point about shining bright is really, when you think about it, everybody has infinite amount of power in who they are. And so you don't need to look to somebody else to give you power or for you to take power from them, unless it's, because of a great relationship. You have infinite power. You just have to find it, tap it, and cultivate it. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about changing the program and going back to who we are, who we came here as, and then we forgot during the process of growing up. We grow down, we don't grow up. Oh. We can tap into that baby that we once were.
Yes. When you were super healthy, like when you're just super young, there hasn't been any damage done yet, right? You're just a lot more healthy, you're more resilient. And I think that has a lot to do with why kids are so curious, is because the accumulated damage isn't that high as it is after you've been alive for 30 or 40 or 50 years and you've been, eating unhealthy food or maybe not moving enough or moving in the right way, right? And so I just want to tell you one thing. You appear to me to be as kind of a person as you can be. You're obviously very curious. The questions that you asked were so good. You're such a good listener. I can just feel when I'm talking how much you're listening. And so, you're doing all of the things that we're talking about. You know, I mean,
Right.
yeah, that's you. We're talking about you. So thank you. Thank you for having us.
Well,
Thank you for listening. Thank you for asking. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, right, right. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Likewise. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. And I love you too.